So here we go with a fix to Grandma's boat. It had an accident, and so we had to pull the whole thing apart and scrape off the bottom of the deck, which, as you can see, has got glue on it, and I think some kind of hide glue. Didn't respond really well to water. I'm not really sure what it was, but anyway, it responded to scraping. And here as well. In my first video on this boat, when I first got it, and it was in really bad shape, the deck was actually on there quite well, so I never had to mess with it. So this is first for me to see all of this, but it's all being scraped down, and we're going to put some wood glue on it, and it will never come off of there again, I hope. But of course, we have to go through all of our due diligence here and get all the metal work off the top. And it's fiddly. Here's where the captain, I guess, or the person steering the boat would put their little feet. I just blackened that up with a marker there, glued it in. And here I'm just cleaning up some bits and pieces that just, weren't quite right, and scratched up and smashed up and dirty. Some of it was just dirty. Sorry about this. I did not know that it was not catching that. I thought I had it in the right place. But anyway, we're scraping this up and cleaning it, putting some new glue in there, and, working it in, clamping it down. Once I get the clamp on there, it starts to focus. But that was really quite damaged. Big chunk came out of that. Here I'm putting all the glue. Yes, I know. Lots of glue there. It'll clean up easily, though, with a wet rag. It's a nice thing about wood glue. In the end, I found out that it was off a little, about by like a millimeter off. But nothing you would notice. And so hopefully that will never come off again. So there's a crack there, and it didn't go down as nicely as I wanted it to. So I got to fill it in with wood putty. So I'm going to tape this off. This is a really good sort of best practice here. Tape it off, put tape on either side of that little crack, and then, fill in, press it in there really well. And then when it's dry, you can just pull the tape up. So instead of having to go, outside of the cracks and sand, and maybe sand too much, this keeps it all sort of in one place. And it's a real improvement. And it makes the whole thing much more efficient and neat. I'll just put some wood putty in there. First, I thought it was just one little area, and then it turned out to be all over the place. As you can see here, it's just that little thin strip, and so that's all I have to. That's all I have to sand here. I'm using 100. I think that pad there is 120. And you can see here, there's just a big chunk taken out of the front. This is I'm using here a Japanese saw, and it's called a Japanese saw, and it is one of the best things I have ever bought. It is so handy. It is so good. It cuts so straight. It's just a pleasure to work with. Now I got to get a piece of wood in there. I don't want to just fill it in with a bunch of putty. And you got to line the grains up, because somebody in one of these videos will see that the grain is not lined up. And just put that in there. And I'm not going to use wood glue. Not on this one. I'm not going to use wood glue. It might be good enough. I'm going to use epoxy and clamp it down, and that'll fill in any little gaps, as well as make it, really secure, because I'm going to be using a wood chisel on this to get the excess off. You can see it. Okay, so that's dried up and it's ready to go. Very satisfying. Nice sharp wood chisel is what everybody needs. And we'll sand it down a little bit, shape it, and the shape will come out really, really nice. It'll look really good. And you can see the wood putty in there too. And so now I've got to varnish it up a little bit. I've got to match that wood, and also match the wood putty here. And if you didn't know, I mean, it doesn't jump out at you. If you know, you can see it and you think, ah. But if you don't know, it doesn't jump out. It looks fine. Looks fine. Just taking it easy here, not putting on too much. I have a tendency to do that. But I think this is the second coat here. Just a light coat, a couple of light coats on there. It blended in quite well. And then I'm going to sand the whole thing. Here I go. It's got this kind of yacht lacquer on it that you would actually put on a boat. And so I take some 180 here, just because I had 180. And then I go over to 240. And then I wipe it all down with some mineral spirits and get off any extra gunk. And then I'll put some more of this boat lacquer. High gloss. It goes on there easy. You only need one coat. I didn't take it really off. I just scuffed it up really well. And it's in one coat and it's done. And it looks great. Now, because it's about 1 millimeter off, there's my wife giving me some emotional support, which I probably need. And I re-drilled these holes. They were just a little bit off. And so I went ahead and drilled them again. It did mean that these little eyelets that I'm putting in here, right here, these, they didn't sit as tight as before. And so when I put the little brass wire through there, it kind of pulled them up a little bit. So I had to put some CA glue through and just glue it down a little bit, not much, and it immediately stuck. There's a little bit of CA glue there, just in a couple spots. That'll keep it down. You didn't need much. Here I am working with the other bits of metal work that go onto the deck, and those also get a little bit of CA glue on them because some of the sails will be attached. Any sailors out there are probably thinking, oh no. But in the end, it does look like a sailboat, but there may be, like I said, sailors that think, oh, dearie me. So getting to the end here, putting in some extra little bits here that hold the sail down. My wife made these sails, and so she's going to come in here and help me out a little bit, getting the sails just right. Thanks to her for that. And this is where we started. Mast was just sitting there in the corner, and here's where we ended. And it looks really, really great again and ready for Grandma's apartment. So I hope she's happy, and thank you so much for watching.